Good afternoon. I'm sure you had we all had a very nice time a minute ago, and it is really hard, believe me, for me, at this very moment to motivate you to listen to the next half an hour of boring data, perhaps experiences and so on to the south from here. When I was asked by Peter to come here to tell you something about the Slovenia, it would be much easier to talk about the seashore, mountains, and so on, but this doesn't fit in this conference. And then I asked Peter, what should I talk about? And he said, well, tell us what is going on in Slovenia in computer science, in ICT, and all this kind of stuff. So, from that perspective, I try to organize this talk along this just a second. Yeah, we missed one. Yeah, try to organize the talk around this why. This why is, why do we care about ICT? We care about ICT from two perspectives. And the first and the most important is for the kids which we are educating. And it is their right and our responsibility to teach them ICT in such a way that they will be able to create a new ICT and not merely consume it, use it. This is a very hard job. I know it is, and I know that all of you also know that it is. And however, to start doing this way, it is the teachers first of all have to be familiar with the ICT and how to use it and how to employ it into their work. So from here we have like 3 questions to answer, and today we will mostly concentrate on the first 2 questions. And the first 2 questions actually hide in themselves also the third question, which is how. So the first thing is, what is to be taught? Of course, if we are teaching about teaching computer science, it involves the curriculum, which will enable students to become creators of technology. Then, who should do the teaching? Of course, teachers. And now, the teachers, here is the trick. The teachers should be familiar with the technology, should be familiar with the basis behind the technology, and furthermore, what is important, this does not concern only teachers of computer science, or informatics for that matter, whichever term you use. It concerns more or less all of us, all the teachers in any educational program. Now, the third question, which is just mentioned here, but we will not go deeper into it, and was also discussed yesterday on that round table, is the environment. It's the infrastructure which should be there and should be available to be used for the teaching. Now, at this point, I will stop for a second and invite you to disagree with me if you wish, or to agree with me, or to challenge me with your questions. And please do so anytime you wish to do so. Okay? Good. I would like to establish some kind of a connection with you now, and it's not just a talk. Let's talk together about this. So, what to teach? Russell is here? Nope. Because he would recognize this picture, and I hope somebody will recognize you as well. This is a picture which is from the 2 years ago study done by Royal Society of UK, and the title of the study was Restart or Reset. And the question was, now we are talking about what, yes? So the question is what to teach. And in UK they figured out that they have a huge problem with teaching ICT because the ICT was not really understood. What does it mean? So what is an ICT? How do we teach ICT? What is ICT teaching? Do you know, for example? What would you think to be teaching for the ICT? Anybody?
Word.
Word. Perfect. Yes, this is ICT. Yes, it is. Something else.
Mailing.
Sorry?
Mailing.
Mailing. Very good. Very good. Something else.
Programming.
Sorry?
Programming.
Programming. Very good. Something else. Sorry?
Hardware.
Hardware, yes, of course. This is part of ICT as well. However, let me try to point on a certain transfer of the answers which were coming forward. We started with Word, didn't we? Mailing, then we went to programming, and then hardware, or computers as such. And indeed, this all together represents an ICT. An ICT actually consists of 3 pieces, more or less. This is also the result from the studies. And 3 pieces are digital literacy. This is basically being capable to use the ICT in day-to-day life. Okay? This is still consumers. Now, the digital literacy uses information technology. The information technology are computers, are software used by these computers, are, if you wish, mobile phones, which are becoming more and more computers and not phones anymore. However, until this point, we are still talking about teaching the learner how to be a good consumer. And now comes the real thing. Now comes the real thing, because it is our responsibility to teach learner or pupil or kid or student, if you wish, to be creator of technology. Now, to become a creator of technology, you have to understand the things which you mentioned, like how the computer works, how does the programming work, what are the principles how to create the technology. And this is something what is called computer science. It is also interesting that in some people think that programming is nothing else but part of digital literacy. So being able to make a program is part of digital literacy. Now, if this is true, and if we agree upon this, that basically means that this should be most definitely part of the general public education. Now, Peter invited me to say something about Slovenian case, of course. Now, in Slovenia, let me just make a small sidestep. We have a primary education which starts at age 6. I think it's written there. Yes, 6 or 7, depends how old, when in the year is the kid was born, and it lasts for 9 grades. These 9 grades are split into 3 grades of 3 groups of 3 grades. That just means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. In the last group of the last 3 grades, there exists an elective course called computers, or computing, or computer science in some sense. What is nice about this course, elective course, is that it's very open. The curriculum for that course is very open. You know, we are still at the what part. And actually it consists of 3 different topics. Text editing, Word. Multimedia. Multimedia is drawing pictures and all this kind of stuff. And the third one is computer networks, mailing. However, as it is open, it scares away the teachers to go really to the end of the curriculum. Because at the end of the curriculum, it says also to describe the real background of all these topics. So unfortunately, most of the teachers teach just the literacy and information technologies as such. Well, unfortunately or fortunately, because at least fortunately then the kids are at least literate in the ICT sense. On the other hand, there is another unfortunate situation, because these are just 3 elective courses, or subjects for that matter. There is no interconnection between them. So you cannot assume in the beginning of the next one, let's say in the multimedia, that somebody took already text editing. which is additional trouble to make something more out of this course. After 9 years of primary education comes the secondary education, and the secondary education is 4 years. Primary education is mandatory for everybody. The secondary is also the general education. It mostly consists of 3 kinds of schools. This is the general gymnasium, like here in Austria, or Germany for that matter. And technical gymnasium, which is something like general gymnasium, but more technically oriented. And then there are vocational schools like anywhere in the world, I guess. If we concentrate on the first 2 types of the schools, that's a technical gymnasium and general gymnasium. In a technical gymnasium, if you choose to become a computer science technician or informatics technician, you get like 2,280 hours of computer science, which is full load. Unfortunately, it's mostly literacy and technology, not that much science. On the other hand, because I mean the technical gymnasium is not also that much scientifically oriented. On the other hand, when we come to the general gymnasium, we have 70 hours of mandatory course in the first year, and mind you, nobody is expected to know anything at the end of the primary school, anything about computers, anything about ICT. Ergo, you have to start from scratch. But not scratch programming, but scratch, unfortunately. And this is a big burden on this program, on this subject, because basically you have to bring all the kids to the same level in the first place. And bringing the kids to the same level is actually nothing else but bringing them, in particular for the digital literacy. Because, I mean, come on, at the end of the secondary school, the person should be at least somehow digitally literate. So the teachers are actually running out of time to do the real computer science. Now, however, the course in general gymnasium is called Informatica or Informatics. Has one good side. One good side is that it is Matura course. It's Matura subject. I know that you are all familiar with Matura general national examination. You have it here also in Austria. And this is a huge step forward because that means that at least you can do something in those 210 additional elective hours. And this is the time when students can learn something about the science. In practice, is still, most of the emphasis actually on the use, not on the creation. I will not go further here describing how the whole thing works, how the Matura works, what are the results. Perhaps at some other opportunity we can also talk about this, because kind of I will get a red card, right? Now, one thing which I would really like to mention here at this moment is that the side results of this thing is that computer science is never considered as a real science at the end of the secondary school. Why not? Because, well, at the computer science course you are taught Word, and this is really not a science. Of course it's not a science. And so it has a backfire on the general attitude toward the computer science as such, and this basically also downgrades the importance of the course, subject as such. Now, to wrap up, how to improve the whole thing? Well, in fact, the papers are perfectly written. All the curricula are exceptionally well written, because the person who wrote this curricula were not stupid, of course, and furthermore, they were very much aware of the importance of ICT. So whenever you look at any other curriculum, not computer science, mother tongue, math, physics, geography, philosophy, whatever you look at, it always says use of ICT in a subject. But nobody does that. That's the problem. That's the problem, and this is also the big problem, because this use of the ICT in that subject is then pushed into the computer science course. However, what it should be in the other courses, because the digital literacy of using of, if you wish, office programs for writing the text. Why should we learn this at computer science? Why not at mother tongue, or Slovene for that matter, in Slovenia? I mean, come on. It's the same thing as if we would be taught in the first class of the primary school how to sharpen the pencil in a technical education. Right? And this is actually comes to the second issue. It's not what, it's who teaching. And here we will show, I will show you, or we will look at several things how this is hoped to improve in the future in Slovenia. Now, first of all, we have to know, I mean, we all know the teachers is not only a mission, it's also a profession. So it's also the job. You go to the job, you get a job, and you stay in this job for the next 40 years or whatever it is until you retire. Most definitely, there exists in-service training. Of course it does. But you know, we all are working days, I mean, every day for that many hours a week. So there is not a lot of spare time to do the in-service training. In particular, this new technology, which is called ICT. The final result is that a number of teachers are pretty much uncomfortable with ICT. And being uncomfortable with ICT results in nobody is doing using of ICT in a subject. Why the heck should I do that? I can teach geography without ICT, no problem. Right? So in Slovenia, what we did, or what they did actually, is they tried to improve this situation. Now, before going into improving steps, we have to understand how the training of the teachers works in Slovenia. First of all, we have pre-service training, which is actually just studying. And it's done at the university level. And actually, faculties of education are with all three public universities in Maribor, Ljubljana, and in Koper, which is called Primorska University. And it is a 5-year program. It's a master degree. So there are two ways how to think about this. It's either 5 years in one piece, or in some universities they think that it should be 3 years first in your profession specialization, then 2 years for the pedagogy and educational stuff. But this is another issue which is not important at this point. On the other hand, there is in-service training which is done through the National Education Institute of the Republic of Slovenia. There is a link, and please, you're very welcome to look at the link and see how does it function. On this slide, I would also like to mention the conference called CIRICT, which is very much similar to this, only slightly larger. I guess Peter, right? Peter was already, we invited him to this conference. It's called CIRICT, which basically stands for Web Education and Research Using ICT. And it is an event usually held in May in Kranjska Gora, which is just across, whichever is the south direction. Okay. Okay. You're welcome to join. You're welcome to look at this, and you're also very welcome to drop by. Quite a number of talks are in English, right? In particular, the plenary talks and invited speakers from all over the world. On the other hand, this is the thing which I would like to emphasize as well. The Institute started a national project called e-Competent Teacher, e-Competent Headmaster, and e-Competent Computer and Information Technician. If you look at this site, it's unfortunately in Slovene, but the idea was exactly this: how to bring the ICT knowledge, day-to-day knowledge, to the teachers, to the headmasters. It is important to bring to headmasters, because then you can start to think that headmaster will also try to upgrade the quality of or use of the ICT in the school. And just to go for slightly faster, the ICT, this is something what is written in the first page. I crossed out the thing which I disagree with. And instead of requires, I would put permits or allows. it should not require, it should permit or allow. It should be teacher's responsibility to use or not to use it. And furthermore, the teacher is no more, in my opinion, the really key person. The key person is learner. And the teacher is there just to provide the environment and help to the teacher. However, his or her role is substantially changed, of course. Okay. And all of this is, in a sense, nothing else but to improve the digital literacy of teachers and headmasters. And there are 6 critical basic e-competencies which this program is supposed to bring to the teachers. How? There are a series of seminars, there are credit points given for this, there is a portfolio in which the teacher puts the educational results and so on, so on, so on, everything. Now the 6 points are the following ones. First of all, critical understanding of use of ICT in educational process. It's not just grab and use, but try to understand whether it is useful and use it. Second one, use ICT for the communication. Somebody said mail, all these kind of different things. So communicate between the teachers, between the community, with the ministry, with the other people. The third one is being able to search, collect, process, and critically evaluate the results of the material found on the net. The fourth one, being aware of safety on the ICT, being aware of ethical and legal questions concerning information on the internet. Fifth one, how to create, update, and what's the third one? Use, publish e-material for the education. Basically, if you are able to create e-material, why not to provide it for your colleagues? And the sixth one is plan, design, execute, and evaluate teaching and learning process. Now here is a key point, using ICT. So ICT is used to plan, to execute, and to evaluate the teaching results of the learning process. Okay, I'll more or less finish here. I would like just to remind you about this small little tiny event, which happened, let's say, almost 10 years ago, right? So happy Christian name or Christian God name? No, name day to Alpen-Adria-Universität in Klagenfurt. And this was the moment when it was Christian, and I was actually its godfather. Thank you very much for your attention, and questions are very welcome. Thank you.